Hi, everybody, and welcome to NY Design. My name is Kimberly. I'm your instructor for today. So starting off with what we have in front of us, we have an 11 by 14 size canvas long ways. We have our brushes, 4 brushes that I tend to use for all my classes. Our background brush, it's a nice big one. This one's a square one. Our square brush, flat, small. Our round tip brush, our detail liner brush, okay, for outlines. Make sure you have your water, your towel, and next we have our colors. Our colors that we're going to be using are going to be our primary colors. We're going to start off first with our white, our black, our yellow, our red, our blue, and our mixed color, which is our brown. Awesome. So starting off, we are going to be using a background brush. First, I want you to take into consideration that your brush is like a sponge. So when you put it in your water, it's going to soak up a lot of water. That's why we have our cup and we have our towel so that we can tap our brush dry or just tap it a little bit on our towel. Coming in, grabbing a little bit of water. Okay, making sure that our brush is nice and soft if you haven't had it in water for a bit. Okay, we're going to come in and we're going to start off first adding some water to the corner of our white. Okay, so we're trying to make this white nice and soft. Squeeze your water in there. Make sure you make your paint smooth. And we're going to add a little drop of yellow. And a little drop of red. So we're going to get kind of like this creamy pink orange, okay? If it's too pink, add a little bit more yellow. So look, it's a very light creamy orange color that we're making. Okay. That's the orange we're using right there. So we're going to start off with that orange. And we're going to write in an X. We're going to begin to paint in the background with this orange. If you wanted a little more orange, just add a little bit more yellow and red to your white to make it more orangey. There we go. Okay, and remember to come back and pick up water. Your paint needs to be nice and creamy. If your paint is getting stuck and it's too sticky in the background, then it needs a little bit more water. You can come in here with a little bit of the darker color, or you can come in here with a little bit more white to brighten some areas up. See, now I have light areas and dark areas. Let me zoom in a little bit so you can see that. See, and now I have light and dark areas in there because I'm going in there and I'm playing with the color. You can come back, add a little bit more white. You can come back, add maybe even a little bit more yellow if you want it more yellowy. Play with that background. And we're going to do this for a little bit. So we're just going to keep that up. And we're going to do this up until maybe 4 fingers from the bottom. We're going to come in and we're only going to bring this outline up to here. So let's keep it up. All right, guys. So hopefully by now you guys are done with this. We are going to give this some time to dry. Meanwhile, we're doing that. We are going to be working on our bottom section down here. Okay, so starting with our bottom section, we are going to pick up our square brush. Okay, it is a little bit big. It is going to give us the ability to make it look like there's wood down here. So we're going to be grabbing a little bit of water. Remember, we need to wet our brush. And I'm going to be zooming in to the bottom part so you guys can just take a look at that. Here we go. Perfect. That way you can just focus on the bottom. So as we are working on the bottom section, we are going to come in with a little bit of this water. And we're going to start off first picking up a little bit of this brown. Okay. We're going to pick up some brown, make sure it's nice and soft. And we're going to start sort of forming more or less where how the wood is going to be laid out. Okay, so I like to work with my paint while it's nice and wet. Why? Because that allows my paint to be more combined together. It allows me to blend easier because I mess with wet paint. When I come in, I add more wet paint and it kind of blends together because they're both moist. Okay, so I'm coming in and I'm picking up a little bit more of this brown. I'm just bringing it down slightly. And I am trying to be a little bit quick. Okay, why? Because I still want to pick up more colors and I want it to be able to blend in there. That is why it is important to add water to your brown so that it can take a minute to dry or take a little bit to dry so that you can come in and blend it with other colors. Okay, next you're going to pick up a little bit of black and mix it with your brown in the corner. We are now making a dark brown. So I'm coming in and I'm adding that dark brown with my brush sideways. Instead of wideways, making a big wide line, I'm turning it and making thinner lines. See that? We're going to come back with a little bit more. Okay, we're coming back in here with some plain blue, a little bit of that light blue. Next, if you want to add maybe a little bit of white with black, you can add a little bit of gray in there now. Let's see what it looks like with some of that gray. And it could be a dark gray, not a light gray. Try to do a darker gray. Ooh, that's looking really, really nice. So we're adding a variety of colors. We did a normal brown. We did a dark brown, which was brown with black. And then we did a little bit of white with black. We're coming in again. We're adding that charcoal in there, playing with it, giving it some texture, trying to give a little bit more of a dramatic and a really interesting look to this wood. Okay, we're making it interesting. Brown and gray do go very well together. You can come in with a little bit of white even and just sort of scratch that white over the top very lightly. Then you can come back with a little bit of that brown and rework your brown. You can add a little bit of more white to your brown if you want a lighter brown. You can come in there with a little bit of that lighter brown also. See that? And we're starting to get that really interesting floor. And there we go. So I'm going to give you guys a couple of minutes, maybe another minute, just so that we can go ahead and blow dry it. And that way we can move on to the rest of our painting. All right, guys, so moving on, we are now going to be moving on to our plate. We are going to be using our liner brush. So that is our very fine, small detail brush. We're going to come in with a little bit of water and black to make that bottom bowl. Coming in with a little bit of that water, making it nice and smooth. We want the paint to be smooth so that we can spread it easier and it won't be an issue. So we are going to be doing a sort of a big plate here. So we're going to be coming in, making a line about right here. That's about 4 fingers from the wood ground towards the top. And we are going to come in and start sort of curving down. And then we're going to come right back up. So then from here, we're going to pick up our other section up on the side. We want to make sort of a little plate here. Right above it, you're going to come in and do another line, mimicking the previous line, parallel to it. If you notice, it does curve in slightly. Okay. From here, we are going to slightly curve it towards the right. See that? So that's giving us the effect of an inner curve, as if the plate is starting to curve that way. Okay, like there's a base to it. Okay, so I'm coming in with a little bit of this black. So on the side, we're sort of going to have the same thing. See, boom. And that sort of widens our edges a little bit. There we go. Cool. So then from here, we are going to begin to draw out some of these cupcakes. We're just going to do the base of it just so we know more or less where to not paint. So here we're going to draw one cupcake and we're going to curve it just like our plate. We're going to come in with another cupcake and finally another one over here as well. And this one is going to be coming off to the side a little bit. You just make the cup a little bit further down so that it looks like it's taking up some space. Okay. Here in the back, we're going to make a straight line and another straight line. Maybe a little lower. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So then that straight line, all this down here, we're going to be filling in black. Okay. But I am going to be adding a little bit of a design at the bottom of the base, connecting the actual plate to the ground. So we're going to be painting in our stand. So our stand is going to be a circle right in the middle. And then we're going to be having a really cool bat wing coming down. Okay, we're going to do the same thing on the other side. There's a bat wing coming down. So it's a point, then it curves. Then from here, we sort of make a webbing all the way till we get to the front. See that? So then from here, we're picking up that black again, bringing it down. And here, we're going to make a stand coming out and around. And we're making an S shape, coming up and making a little bit of a bulb here. We're going to do the same thing over here, do another S the opposite way, and then do a little bulb on top. Make sure that you have enough water in your paint so it doesn't get sticky. See this? And these are the little legs holding the whole thing up. Right here in the middle, you're just going to make a point coming down, sort of like an exclamation point. It's going to widen a little bit, and we're going to do sort of a circle right in the middle as well. See that? So right here, I made a circle. That's what it's looking like. Let me zoom in. So I did sort of that exclamation mark design down here. And then I did that tip. If you want to come back with a little bit of white and just add a little bit of a highlight there, come back with a little bit of that white and just scratch it on part of it. I like to come up on the top here. We're adding a little bit of the highlight down here as well. And then all of that center is going to be painted in black. So let's come in. We're just coming in and we're painting that in black. If you also want to come in with some of that gray highlight and just create a design going down, spiraling down, that'll add such a cool effect to that stand. My stand is a little off too, but we'll be able to go ahead and fix that with our black. If you notice, my stand is a little off to the right. So all we're going to do is we're going to come in and we're going to make this plate just a little bit wider. Okay, if you don't have that issue, you don't have to worry about it. There we go. And we're just going to have to make sure that the right is sort of looking the same as far as height wise and dipping wise. There we go. Cool. So once we're done with this, we're going to come in and fill in the rest of this. You can pick up your round tip brush, pick up a little bit of water. We're going to pick up that black and we are going to come in and fill in that center. We're going to continue to fill in the left one as well, the left wing. Okay. So now I'm going to begin to use my square brush again. It covers more territory. So I'm going to come in, pick up this square brush, pick up a little bit of black, and I'm going to begin to paint in the plate itself. I'm continuing to fill this in. Right up on the right and the left-hand corner, we do want to bring it slightly higher up. We want to make it feel as if it might be a little bit rounder than what we are noticing. And we're going to bring that down. This line has to be higher than the line that we see back here. There we go. Same thing here. This one has to also start a little bit higher up. Make this look a little bit rounder. Cool. Then I'm going to come back, add another layer of this black. So from here, we're going to use this square brush still. We're going to pick up a little bit of that white that we used previously so we can make a gray. And we are going to scratch the bottom of that plate. We're going to start to give it, I went first from the left, curving it towards the right. And I'm going to do the same thing from the right towards the left. And we are going to come back with a little bit more of that white. We want to start to separate this a little slightly. Coming back with a little bit more of that white. And we're going to bring this up, trying to make it look a little bit higher. Right here on the left or on the right, we're going to press and then we're going to come in and release. And we're going to do the same thing on the left-hand side. Press, come in and release. We can bring in some of this white and cross hatch the center so that it looks like there's a base there. I'm going to be adding another color in there eventually with some of that highlight. Next, with that white and a little bit of black, we're going to come in and we're going to start to define the little bulb that we saw right here. We can come in, add a little bit of extra highlight wherever we choose to. Kind of make it stand out a little bit more than it was. There we go. Just added a couple of lines around the outside where the light would be hitting it. Adding a little bit of a highlight on the side of the wing. And there we go. Any other details that you would like to add are completely up to you. I'm going to add a couple of dots right here towards the bottom and add a little bit more to the wings. Another layer of highlight on the bulb. And I'm going to come in and start to actually outline part of this section a little bit. I want to make this look as nice as I possibly can. So I'm coming in with some of this white right over the top. Coming in with a little bit more of that white, creating a reflection sort of look with the light underneath. Awesome. So then from here, I am going to grab a little bit of this black and I'm going to start to just pull from the bottom of the base out towards the left a little bit and towards the bottom. I'm going to fill in the center with a little bit more of that black. What I'm doing now is that we are adding a little bit of a shadow towards the bottom. So we're just going to trace and go off to the sides, creating a shadow effect. I'm going to add a little bit more here towards the back so it looks as if we have another one of these foots towards the back there. There we go. Cool. Once we're done with that, We're going to be picking up our liner brush and making sure it's nice and clean. We're picking up some white and we're going to start to do some triangles. We are creating a base coat of white. We are going to be painting some candy corn here. So this is going to be the base outline for that. So come in and add a couple of these triangles. You can leave a couple of drops. You can make these nerds. Or you can make them just little M&Ms. Here on the right-hand side, we're going to do another one. Just sort of laying on the ground there. And then finally, we are going to trace out a partial cup. Turns out we have another cupcake down here. So we're going to be painting in the base to get that done. So once we've done our cupcake, we just painted that base white. We're going to come in and we're going to begin to decorate the bottom cups of our other cupcakes. So coming in first with my square brush, I'm going to come in and I'm going to work with several different colors for my cupcakes, okay? So first off, we're going to come in and picking up a little bit of this water, and I'm going to make a, let's see, what color should I make? Green cup. So I'm going to pick up a little bit of this blue. I'm going to mix it into my yellow. Make sure that that's nice and mixed. I'm going to come in and I'm going to make a green cup here. So I'm going to make this cup a little bit on the biggish side. Okay, I'm going to give that a little bit of time to rest before I come back and add another layer. Next, I'm going to make this one orange. So I'm going to mix some red into the other corner of my yellow. If you notice, I tend to always use the corners of my colors when mixing them. I don't like to mix all my color in the center just in case I want to pick up some pure color later. I have that color already in there. So this one's going to be an orange cup. Okay, and we might have to add a couple of layers of this color in here to make it really pop. There we go. This one is going to be a blue one. So I'm picking up some blue, brushing that blue on there. If you want to pick up a little bit of this white, scratch it from the top down. You'll have that beautiful cup look we're going for. So again, if you want to wash your brush off, pick up a little bit of that white and just from the top, scrape some of that white in. You'll start to get all those pretty lines we're looking for. Come back, pick up a little bit more white. So next I'm coming in with a little bit more of that yellow and red. And I'm going to start to scratch that yellow from the top down. I'm starting to make my orange. You could even come in with some red and you can scratch your red from the top down. See that? So you could do it with your red first. Come back with a little bit more of that yellow, scrape from the top down, and we're going to continue that all the way across. So we get that really cool look we're going for. Again, pick up a little bit more of that yellow, and I'm scraping it from the top down. Picking up some of that blue, scraping it from the bottom up. And there we go. Right here in the bottom, I'm going to be picking up my square brush, and I'm going to be mixing up another color. I'm picking up maybe a little bit of, I don't know, let's say red or purple, red and blue. And I'm painting this back cup that color. I'm bringing the color down a little bit closer to the bottom. I'm going to pick up a little bit of this white, and that white is going to define this back cupcake. It's going to be a little bit on the redder side of, see? Again, you can pick up some more of that white, and the white will scratch it. What is this telling us? It's telling us that there's a cupcake in the back there. I'm also going to do this one back here, a green color, except that this is going to be more of a dark green. So I'm going to add a little bit more blue to my yellow just to make it a darker green. And we're going to begin to paint that in to the back. Again, bringing it a little bit lower. Nice. So then from there, I am going to grab a little bit more of this lime green, and I'm going to scratch that lime green up so that it looks like there's another cupcake back there as well. Okay, to this color right here, now that we're finally working on our green, because that's the color we ended in, you can come in with your round tip and just start to scrape some of that green over the top to add the second coat. Remember, it was a lime green. And you can pick up some yellow to create those lines down to the bottom. You see that? You can come in with a little bit of that white and also scratch some of that white up towards the top. Awesome. And there we go. We did our cupcakes. Next, this bottom cupcake cup, I'm going to make it a pink. So I'm picking up some of this white and some of this red. And this one's going to be a pink cupcake. A little bit of that red. Okay, and then you're going to be using a stronger red just to create those lines that are separating everything. Coming in with some of that red. Picking up a little bit of this white. And I'm creating those lines without it being super obvious. And instead, we're getting this really nice fading color effect. So I then went in, painted my candy corn, did a layer of red and yellow, which made my orange a layer of yellow. Then I went in, put a little bit of a highlight on the top of each one and repainted some of that white. I went in and I painted the nerds purple with a little bit of a white for the highlight. And I went in and painted the orange nerds orange, which was red and yellow with a little bit of highlight as well. Then I came in and I just added black shadows behind everything. I created lines, just started pulling all around every single item that I painted, my candy corn on the right, and my cupcake on the right as well. Also created some shadows. Next, I moved on to my cupcake where I am coming in and now I am making this one into more of a galaxy type of cupcake cup. So I'm coming in, picking up a little bit of this white. And I'm starting to create a little bit of an outline from the top to the bottom. I'm coming in and I'm going to start to just create some of these broken lines, giving it the effect as if these are indentations on my cup. Next, I'm going to come back with a little bit more of this darker blue, and I'm going to do the same thing with my darker blue. That way, I have both colors showing through. It's not just one. And it looks like there's not only a highlight, but a shadow as well. We always want to go in and add both highlight and shadows so that we get that three-dimensional effect that we seek a lot. And again, it just depends on your style. Cool, there we go. Next, I'm gonna have my yellow and red one here. What I'm gonna do to this one is I am actually going to add a bunch of black dots to this one. I'm giving each of these cups their own personality. Nice, look at that. Next, my shadows are gonna be yellow. If you happen to smudge a little bit of the black, that's fine. It's creating a nice effect. Again, bringing in the yellow. Okay. Okay. And I'm going to do the same thing with some of this red. I'm now coming in with some of this red and over some of that yellow. I'm going to scrape in some of that red off to the side of it. Pick up some of that red to make the line below. Pick up some of that yellow just to bring in some highlight. Cool. Did the little dips on top. For this one, it's going to be a little bit smaller. Maybe even some zigzags would be nice. Cool. In the background, we can just add a little bit more yellow. Next, we have this green one, and this green one, I'm going to sort of do a spider web type of thing. So I'm going to come in. I'm going to make a couple of lines coming off to the sides. See that? Sort of creating a fan. Then I'm going to just join the edges. So it looks like there's a spider web. You can even draw a couple of spiders on there. Look at that, a dot right in the center, and then 6 lines. Oh, how creepy is that? And what we're gonna do here, we're gonna come in with our darker green, a little bit more blue mixed with our yellow. And we're gonna use this color with some yellow to create the shadows coming down. We're just gonna create those lines. Don't blur it too much. There we go. Then we're coming in with a little bit of that white right at the bottom and off to the left. Come in with a little bit of that yellow. And we're just gonna arch this one too. See, and they each have their own personality, which is totally cool. Once we're done with that, we're gonna come in and we're gonna start to paint in the cupcakes. First thing, we're gonna come in with our round tip brush and we're gonna pick up our white. So our white one is gonna come off to our blue and we are gonna create a nice thick white frosting cupcake. So we're gonna make our first layer of white. Our second layer of white. Our third layer of white. And then we're gonna make just a little curl on top so that it all looks like it goes together. It looks almost like ice cream, right? And we're gonna use just a little bit of pink. So pick up just a tiny drop of red with white. We don't need a lot, just a tiny little drop. Okay, we're mixing it with the white. We want it to be very, very light. And that's what we're gonna use, just add some of this shadow on the side. So there's a little line that comes down, line that comes down, and another one. Okay, and we do one cupcake. There we go. That's one. On this orange one, we are going to come in and add a little bit of brown. So we're coming in with our brown. And we're gonna just add sort of like a small chocolate layer over the top. You see that? This one's gonna go on top of the white one on the left. If you wanna come back with maybe a little bit of black and just mix a little bit of black in there, that'll be fine. Over here, we are then gonna come in and we are going to pick up a little bit of white with the black. And we're gonna make a little bit of a tombstone. We're gonna make an arch. And that's what we're working on. We're working on the tombstone, picking up some of that white. Trying to reach that tombstone. Right below the tombstone, we're coming in with a nice big chunky amount of yellow and green. And we're just gonna begin to dab some of that color in there. You can even come in with just a little bit of white and scratch that in there as well. Next, towards the left, we're coming in with a little bit of blue and a little bit of red. We're combining that together to make a purple again. Okay, so we're coming in with that purple. And we're gonna begin to just make a small little dome like that. See that? Making it look almost like a scoop of ice cream. Coming in with some of that red and purple. And this one's actually going to be going into our cupcake a little bit. See that? Into our cupcake cup. So we're coming in with that. Coming in with a little bit more of that red and purple color. There we go. And we did that section there. Next, right here in the back, we're going to pick up a little bit of this red and orange. We're going to begin to paint in a pumpkin, sort of hidden behind here. Okay, we're going to make this one a little bit bigger. So we're going to kind of bring the pumpkin off the side. Okay, so again, we are going to make this pumpkin a little bit bigger. Coming in with some of that yellow and some of that red. Trying to make my way towards the center of the pumpkin, towards the top of the stem. On top of the stem for the pumpkin, we're coming in, picking up a little bit of this green, which is yellow and blue. And I'm creating a cool little stem here. Kind of putting it right in the center. Finally, towards the left, we're going to pick up a little bit of black. And we are going to paint in the background with some of that black. I'm like, black, what are we painting? We're going to be painting in a fat cat sitting on top of a cupcake. So we're coming in, painting this black, and then right on top, we're going to make a circle. There we go. We're going to have a little bit of a tail in the back. And we're going to have our ears. Make sure that the face is nice and chubby for the cat in the back. So let's come in, let's begin to blow dry this so that we can move on and continue painting the rest of our details in our cupcake. I'm going to go in, paint this in, and I'll be right back. Okay, so moving on, we are going to be working while we're waiting for that to dry on this bottom one. This bottom is a lime green cupcake, this bottom one. And this one is also going to be a little bit on the curvy side. This one can also have a line coming in, curving it from the top. Okay, so we're coming in with our green. And in the center, we can come back with a little bit of this yellow and fill that in so that it looks as if we have a shadow and a highlight, which again, I've brought up multiple times, is really important to get a three-dimensional effect. Moving on to the top of our cupcakes, wanting to do our final designs, we're going to come in with our round tip brush. We're going to come in and do 2 eyes. And we're going to go in and make a little ghost out of our white cupcake. Next, using a little bit of blue in our lower cupcake, we're going to come in and just create these little worm effects coming down. And we're going to go in with some yellow and add some yellow dots. So the top is a ghost. The bottom has a bunch of worms on it. Blue worms. Next, with our liner brush, our thin one, we're coming in, picking up our black. Make sure that you have enough water in there so that your paint flows smoothly. And with our detail brush, we are going to begin to just outline the outside of our pumpkin, adding a little bit of a line in there as well. And I'm just bringing in my lines towards the side of it. I'm also going to outline my ghost cupcake a little bit. So with my black, I'm coming in and I'm going to do a partial jack-o'-lantern hidden behind this tombstone. There's a triangle. Next to it, I'm going to have another triangle kind of hidden behind. So this is both of the eyes. And then we're going to go in and just do a little bit of a zigzag for a mouth. Again, a little bit of that black. Gonna outline the tombstone now. And on it, I'm going to write R.I.P. I can also go in and partially outline. Cool. From here, we are going to be picking up a little bit of this white. And we're going to begin to draw a line going across our cupcake in the center. There's one. On the right, we're going to make a couple more. Or maybe one more. And what are we doing? We are creating a larger spider web. We're also going to grab our white and we're going to begin to just start in the corners, connecting every single line by an arch. And there you go. On top of our purple here, we're going to come in with a little bit more of this white into our purple. Okay, we're going to try to create a lighter purple. And with that lighter purple, we are going to create a highlight on our cupcake. We're also going to bring in some of that purple, scratch it towards the bottom to create more of a colorful effect. You can also pick up a little bit of pink and scratch some of that pink towards the bottom. You can add some of the highlight to the bottom of the frame as well. You can bring your highlights towards the bottom of the stand to brighten it up. I can add a little bit to the actual stand too, make it nice and colorful. On our bottom cupcake, come in with a little bit of white, creating a little bit of a highlight. And I'm going to add a couple of dots on these gummy worms so that they look like they got sugar sprinkled on top of them. So working on our kitty, now that we have some of that white on our brush, we're gonna come in, highlight part of the ear, side of the face. We're gonna make some whiskers with the white coming out. And you're gonna make some whiskers with some of this black coming out. So the center is gonna be some white with red. We're gonna make the nose. The nose is basically a T with a little rounder stem in the center. See that? Then from here, we're just gonna draw in some orange yellow eyes. Next, we're gonna come in and with some black, just fill in the almond of the center of the eye. And we have ourselves our little cat. Finally, one of the coolest things we're going to be drawing over here is going to be picking up a little bit of this black again. And we're actually going to be drawing a large circle. And a smaller circle. What is that? A spider. So we're coming in, doing the back legs. And we're going to continue to do the same thing on the other side. Come up, spread it out, and finally in the front, bring it all the way to the top. And that is super scary. I do not like spiders at all, but we have a spider there. Coming back with a little bit of this white, sort of just creating a scratch so that there's a highlight. Again, with this yellow and green, we want to come back and maybe add a little bit more. Maybe it dulled a little bit. So if you want to come back and add a little bit of that, you can, some of that yellow to make it stand out a little bit more. We can add some yellow on the side of the stem. And I'm going to want you guys to pick up a little bit of this yellow and white. So on the sides of the stem are yellow and blue. We can actually make some of this coming out. You see that? We can make some of these grassy areas come out from the back. We want to make the stem swirl outwards with some of this white also. Okay, you can go ahead and even add a little bit of yellow or red and white. To our ghost cupcake. Make it a little bit thicker. You can also add a little bit of white liner to divide some things. Here I am picking up a little bit of this white, giving a little bit of a highlight in the eye. Giving a little bit of a highlight on top of the tombstone. Even adding a little bit of white in the back of the eye for the jack-o'-lantern as well. See that? Next, I thought it would be kind of fun to just come along in the middle and paint maybe a hand. So I'm doing 2 lines, a little cross line, a couple of lines for the hand. You can make it look as if there's a little skeleton reaching out right there. Turn back with a little bit more of that yellow and white. You could even add a little bit of blood on there if you want to make it look a little intense. If you don't want to do that, you could just leave it the way it is and leave the rest in peace sign, coming back in here with a little bit more of this white and yellow and blue to make our green. Any other highlights that you want to add is completely up to you. If you want to add some on your pumpkin, you can add a little bit there. Very light. We're not looking to do a lot. So the final thing that you have left to do is to come in and on the right hand side, put in your signature. So come in with a little bit of maybe some black and white. And on the right hand side, put in your signature and you're done. Thank you so much for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you in my next class. Make sure you check out our video section on our website, www.unwindanddesign.org.